Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little story time on some juicy tea about my life. So I'm like a really boring person, like nothing happens in my life ever, like no drama. I'm like super like to myself, don't go out a lot, so this never happens to me. But I guess when I was younger, I guess I liked a lot of drama and tea in my life, and I think it was just because I was like really immature and like didn't know a lot about life and consequences and stuff. So yeah, just to get into the story, this is the first time my heart got broken. So I would say I was in middle school for sure, but I don't know if I was in 7th or 8th grade. He was my very first like serious boyfriend, I would say. I was really messed up back then. So he was actually one of my best friend's boyfriend previously, and he used to confide in me a lot because like he had issues with their relationship. So he would confide in me because I don't know why that is wise, but like I guess he was like, oh, like I don't know what's going on with her, could you like kind of like give me like, you know, the 411, like what's going on with her and her background, like what's she saying about me, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So like he would confide in me a lot, and I would obviously just like, you know, like I didn't think much of it. Obviously their relationship didn't work out for them, but like they were like super cool about it. Like they continued to be friends and whatever. So he continued to talk to me a lot because like we were really good friends at that point. And I guess like one thing led up to another, and like hormones and middle school kids and like immaturity and stuff, but we started going out and dating, and it was really cool. Like he took me to like a couple of like middle school dances, you know, like back then it was just like in like the school auditorium, and they just turn on music and turn off all the lights and stuff, and like we would just like jump up and down and dance and stuff like that. But he was like honestly kind of a bad boy. Like I don't know what it was, but like back then I was like kind of into it. Normally I'm like a rule follower. Like I hate people who don't follow rules, who, you know, like jaywalk. Like that's like, I hate that. Like I am a rule follower. So back then, it's kind of looking back, like I'm kind of surprised I got with him, because normally like that's not my style. And if you know my husband, he's like identical to me. Like we hate breaking rules. Like we will cross a crosswalk even though it's like half a mile away because we don't want to jaywalk. Like that's just who we are. Back then I was band president, and he like went outside and like used to always fool around when there was a sub, and obviously it would go back to me because I was like kind of like the student who was in charge, and my band teacher would be like, why did you let this happen? But secretly inside I was like, he's my boyfriend, like I can't do anything, like, you know, like I want to look cool in front of him, but whatever. So I guess like our relationship was going really well, blah blah blah. Fast forward to I'm assuming it was like middle of 8th grade or something, but I'm gonna say it was like winter time, because I remember it was kind of cloudy that day. We're like slowly like not talking as much, like we didn't hang out as much. AOL instant message was like a huge thing back then, and so we used to talk every night. But I guess at that point we were starting to like not talk as much. One thing led to another, and he texted me one day and he was like, hey, can we meet after school? I need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, sure. Like I didn't think much of it, because like that was like him breaking up with me. It was like the last thing that was on my mind. Like I was just like, oh, he just wants to talk to me and like, you know, like chill, because we haven't talked in a long time. But at the back of my mind, like I kind of knew what was up, because like I'm just like that type of person who's like super anxious, and I always think the worst that will happen. But I didn't think much of it because I was like, oh, this was my first boyfriend at that point. Like I didn't know anything about relationships. But yeah, so I went in front of the brand room. That's where he wanted me, and he was like, and he came late actually. I was on time and he was late, so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But anyways, he came and he was like, he straight up was like, we didn't have any small talk. He was just like, hey, we need to break up. And I was like, oh, okay. And like me being the type of person who like hates conflict, like I didn't want to be that clingy girlfriend who's like, why are you breaking up with me? Like I don't want you to. I didn't want to be that type of person. So I was like, okay, cool. you know, like I want to be really chill. But inside I was like, what is going on? Obviously I want to know like why he wanted to break up with me. So I was like, oh, like why do you want to break up with me? And he was just like, oh, like I feel like we've been drifting apart, you know, I don't, you know, he said something like it's not, and it was pretty much like it's not you but it's me. And I was like, okay, sure. And like I wanted to seem super cool, and I was like, yeah, like can we still be friends, you know? And he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I walked away. And at that point my heart was really heavy, but I didn't want to cry in front of him because I wanted to seem cool about it because we were friends before, you know? So I was like, okay, like whatever, bye. And I started walking away, and then I was waiting in the front of the school for my mom to pick me up. And I was like really like sad at that point. Like I was like, oh my god, like I just got broken up with. And so my mom picks me up and we're driving home, and it was really cloudy that day, I remember. And I don't know, I guess it was just like sitting with me for a little bit. So at that point I started feeling really emotional and I started tearing up. And back then I never cried. Like the only reason I would cry was either like sad movie or I got really big trouble from my parents. So it was like a really big deal that I teared up even. So I started tearing up, and my mom was just like, oh, like what's going on? And like for me, like I hated like being upfront about my emotions. So I said like, oh, I'm tired, like I don't want to talk about it. But she obviously knew something was up. But yeah, so I pretty much like was tearing up and like trying to like not make it seem like a big deal to her. Vaguely, like, so I don't remember a ton of details back then because I'm like the type of person, if it makes me anxious, like I'm gonna block it out of my life. But I remember him going to my high school and we got back together, I think, because we ended the year together because I went to a dance with him, like our 8th grade promotion, which is like the dance for 8th graders, or like for middle school. So I remember I dated him even throughout high school a little bit. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure I got back with him, but obviously it didn't work out because I'm not married to him. I was really messed up because in high school I ended up dating his best friend, but that could be another video. So yeah, if you really enjoyed my video today, please like and comment your first breakup story. I would love to know how you felt, how you dealt with it, because obviously for me, I want to be the cool girlfriend and I was really like chill about it, but internally I was really heartbroken. And I'm sure I never talked about it with him, so I'm sure he doesn't know how I felt. We're actually not friends anymore. I don't know, I wouldn't call ourselves friends because I haven't talked to him since, I would say, ever since we broke up. But yeah, if you really like this video, please tell me your stories about how you got broken up with or how you broke up with your first boyfriend. And thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.